Good morning, everyone. I am Mira Elizabeth James. Today we are going to learn Chapter 3 from Fine Tune Your English. Chapter 3 The Noun Clauses. Analyzing the grammar of a language is equal to analyzing the anatomy in medical science. It is one of the time tested ways of learning English. If you have mastery over analyzing clauses and phrases and differentiating different varieties of clauses, you can have greater mastery of the language. Today, we are going to learn different types of clauses in English, especially focusing on the noun clauses. So, first of all, what are the types of clauses? Clauses can be broadly divided into two categories: main clauses and subordinate clauses. Or to give different terms, dependent clauses and independent clauses. Main clauses are also known as independent clauses, and subordinate clauses are also known as dependent clauses. What is a subordinate clause? A subordinate clause is a clause that cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. It merely complements a sentence's main clause, thereby adding to the whole unit of meaning. Because a subordinate clause is dependent upon a main clause to be meaningful, it is also referred to as a dependent clause. So, it is dependent upon the main clause to have a fuller meaning. Look at the example. After we had lunch, we went back to work. This is a sentence which can be called as a complex sentence. In this sentence, the first part of the sentence, after we had lunch, is a dependent clause or a subordinate clause. After we had lunch is not giving a complete meaning. It gets a complete meaning only when it is added to the rest of the sentence. After we had lunch, we went back to work. So the second part of the sentence, we went back to work, is a sentence which is having a complete meaning in its own. We went back to work. So it is a clause and a sentence which is having a complete meaning. It is known as an independent clause or a main clause. It does not need any addition to get a complete meaning. We went back to work. But it is not same with the first part of the sentence. After we had lunch, which is a subordinate clause, gets a complete meaning only when it is added to a main clause or an independent clause. In this example, after we had lunch gets a complete meaning only when it is added to the sentence, we went back to the work. We went back to work. So what is a dependent clause or a subordinate clause? To define it, it has a subject and a verb. A dependent clause has a subject and a verb. It does not express a complete thought. So the meaning is incomplete. It does not express a complete thought. It cannot stand of its own. A subordinate clause can stand only when it is attached to an independent clause. It is not a sentence. It is not like a sentence because it is not complete in its own. It begins with a subordinating conjunction. Usually, a subordinate clause or a dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction. So, which are the examples for subordinating conjunctions? We know what is a conjunction. So, these are some of the examples for subordinating conjunctions. After, although, as if, as soon as though, because, before, even though, if, since, so that, than, though, unless, until, when, whenever, wherever, while. The list goes on. So these are some of the examples for subordinating conjunctions. Usually subordinate clauses begins with a subordinating conjunction. So dependent clauses can be broadly categorized into three: noun clauses, adverb clauses, adjectival clauses, which are also known as relative clauses. We will deal with adverb clauses and adjectival clauses in the coming chapters. Today we are going to learn noun clauses. What are noun clauses? A noun clause is a subordinate or dependent clause that plays the role of a noun, in a sentence. What is a noun? Noun is the name of a person, a place or a thing. So the noun clause plays the function of a noun in a sentence. A noun clause can appear in a sentence in the subject position, in the object position as the direct object. It can function as a subject complement. It can function as the object complement. It can come as the object of a preposition, and it has an appositive function also. It comes as an appositive also. A noun clause can be the subject of a verb. Examples are given. What he said is totally false. So, a noun clause has the function of a noun in a sentence. Here, the noun clause functions as a noun in the sentence. What he said is totally false. What is totally false? What he said is totally false. So, the underlined portion, what he said, is the clause there and it forms the subject of the sentence. What he said is totally false. So in that clause it is a dependent clause. It gets meaning only when it is added to the rest of the sentence. He is totally false. The meaning is incomplete, but here we have the subject he and the verb said. What he said is totally false. Next example, whether he will return the money is beyond my power of prophecy. Whether he will return money is the subject of the sentence. It is a noun clause which functions as the subject of the sentence. Is beyond my power of prophecy. What is beyond my power of prophecy? Yeah, whether he will return the money is beyond my power of prophecy. Whoever ate my lunch is in a big trouble. Who is in a big trouble? Whoever ate my lunch is in a big trouble. So, there also the subject is there. Whoever ate is the verb. The meaning is incomplete because it is a dependent noun clause. So, these are the examples where a noun clause comes as the subject of a sentence. Noun clause can come as the object of a verb. You must remember that you are not children. You must remember something. You must remember what? That you are not children. So there it comes as the object of the verb remember. You must remember that you are not children. So that you are not children is the noun clause there, which is a dependent noun clause, which gets the complete meaning only when it is added to the rest of the sentence. You must remember that you are not children. I want to know whether you intend to sell your car. Know is the verb, and here this part, the underlined clause, comes as the object of the verb know. I want to know. I want to know what? I want to know whether you intend to sell your car. So this is an example for noun clauses as the object of a verb. Now, noun clauses can also come as the object of a preposition. We are really surprised at what has happened. Here we can see a preposition at. So it comes as a complement of the preposition at. What has happened is the noun clause there. It comes as the object of the preposition at. It complements the object of the preposition. It complements the preposition at. We are really surprised at what has happened. Mary is not responsible for what Billy did. Responsible for is the preposition and it comes as the object of the preposition for. For what? For what Billy did. Noun clause as subject complement. Noun clause can come as the subject complement. A noun clause can be used as complement. Noun clauses can be used as complements. They complement the linking verb. Linking verb is also known as verbs of incomplete predication. So these verbs need something as complements. Complement means something that complete a meaning, that makes it a whole, something that completes. The trouble with a kitten is that it becomes a cat. So there is the linking verb or a verb of incomplete predication. So after is there should be something. The trouble with a kitten is that it becomes a cat. So that it becomes a cat is the noun clause there, and the position of the noun clause or the function of the noun clause in that sentence is it functions as the subject complement. The trouble with the kitten is the subject of the sentence. Is the linking verb, and this is a clause that it becomes a cat. The insult was that he had even asked her. The insult is the subject, was is the linking verb, that he had even asked her is the subject complement. So what that he had even asked her complements the subject, the insult. What is the insult? Insult is that he had even asked her. What is the trouble of the kitten? The trouble of the kitten is the subject. The trouble with the kitten is the subject. And what is the trouble with the kitten? The trouble is that it becomes a cat. So it gives extra information or it completes the subject part. A noun clause as subject complement complements the subject part. Noun clause also can come as object complement. Object complements are defined as words or phrases or clauses that directly follow and modify the direct object. So when a subject complements or completes the subject part, object complement completes the object part. Example, her grandfather considers his biggest mistake that he did not finish college. Her grandfather considers his biggest mistake. Mistake is the considers his biggest mistake. His biggest mistake is the object there, and that he did not finish college is the noun clause there. And what is the function of that noun clause in that sentence? It complements the object, that is his biggest mistake. That he did not finish the college is his biggest mistake. So noun clauses as object complement. You can call him what you wish. Him is the object there. What you wish. Call him what you wish is the object complement in that sentence. And the last function of noun clauses can be used as appositives also. What is an appositive? An appositive is a noun or a noun phrase that sits next to another noun to rename it or to describe it in another way. The word appositive comes from the Latin word. It has its origin in Latin and it means to put near. So it is something that is put near. Appositive is a noun or a noun phrase or a clause that sits next to another noun to rename it or to describe it in another way. Appositives are usually offset with commas, parenthesis means brackets, or dashes. Usually appositives, when it comes as a noun or as a phrase, it uses commas, parentheses or dashes to differentiate it from the noun. Now we will see the examples for noun clauses as appositives. appositive to the subject. The saying that good fences make good neighbors has a lot of truth in it. I have made a mistake here. Saying should not be underlined. The saying is the subject or the noun, and here that good fences make good neighbors is the appositive clause there. That good fences make good neighbors has a lot of truth in it. So that good fences make good neighbors explains or gives additional information about the subject, the saying. Which saying? That good fences make good neighbors. We can demarcate it with a comma here. Also, the saying comma, that good fences make good neighbors, comma. So that is the function of appositive. Appositive to the subject. The belief that diseases are God's punishment is absolutely wrong. The belief is absolutely wrong is the sentence, and we have given an additional information about the subject, the belief. The belief that diseases are God's punishment is absolutely wrong. The belief is absolutely wrong. What belief? The belief that diseases are God's punishment. So there, that diseases are God's punishment is a noun clause which is used as an appositive to the subject. Now, appositive to the object. That means gives additional information or saying it another way. The object is described in another way. Epicurus first propounded the idea that matter is composed of atoms. Epicurus is the subject. Epicurus first propounded is the object. The idea is the propounded is the verb, and the idea is the object. So this noun phrase explains the object, the idea. What is the idea? The idea that matter is composed of atoms. That matter is composed of atoms is a noun clause which explains the object, the idea. So this is appositive clauses. In your textbook, in the beginning part, functions of a noun is given as having four functions: as a subject of a sentence, as the object of a sentence, as or subject or object complement, and as an appositive. So it is the same as the noun clauses. In your text, you just read the text. In your text, the first part is dedicated to describe the functions of a noun, and only after that it comes to the functions of a noun clause. So the functions of the noun clauses in a sentence are similar to the functions of a noun in a sentence. We will do the exercises in the next video. Thank you.